Welcome to the Dudes of Thread podcast. The Dudes of Thread podcast is here to open your mind when it comes to specialty embroidery, applique, patchwork, and multimedia. From ideation to design to sourcing, we want to help you help your customers elevate their merchandise.
We've done the research, made the mistakes, and are excited to share this nerdy fashion content. Join us as we decorate our way to creativity, one stitch at a time.
What is going on?
What's up, dudes and dudettes? Welcome to the Dudes of Thread, episode 8 on this lovely spring Friday morning or afternoon, depending on where you're from.
Exactly. Wonderful morning indeed. And it's been kind of a busy last few weeks here for us. We apologize not going live here as often as we should, at least as much as we want to.
I know we've been trying. We were pretty consistent, but the rush, the heat of summer merchandise is upon us. I'm sure everyone else is feeling that squeeze. So yeah, good to be back. Always a fun way to spend an hour on a day. So thank you all for joining.
Absolutely. So if you're just joining us, we are the Dudes of Thread. So I've got my name is Joe Kramer, and I've got Mr. Jeremy Picker, CEO, Creative Director of Amber Creative, joining me here today, as always. And we are just cruising through our Friday. Man, we've had a lot of fires to put out. We've got a lot of just awesome things going on here. So let's hopefully everybody else out there's got some great projects we're working on, and if you got anything in the comments you want to share with us, please do. We'd love to talk about it. We got Jab Embroidery joining us here from Texas, so they're having
Exactly. And that's not making fun of all my families from Texas. I went to college in Texas. I love Texas, so
absolutely
I miss it.
Yes, and then of course Ramona, she's chiming in from Illinois. Ramona actually, she showed me yesterday. She did her first sewing thread wash project, and she used some nice fill stitches and some sand stitches. So I'll probably be sharing that here at some point too, because Ramona did a great job working on that.
Go Ramona.
Yeah, right. And then of course we have J. Kev one-on-one over here. Yeah, happy Friday. What is good? Everything is good. Blessed. Definitely blessed. Absolutely.
Yes.
Oh my God.
It's fine.
Sorry,
everything's fine.
Yeah. We got Eric here joining us. So Eric, thanks so much for tuning in, bud. Great to have you here with us. Yeah. And then
the embroidery guru himself.
Yeah. So our let's see here. Our team here, we got Angelo, who's always supporting us and heckling us and telling us we have echo and we don't, which is still post-traumatic for us all. But
yes, it took us an hour yesterday to figure out where the echo was coming from, because last time it was me and I tried everything, and then yesterday it was happening again. Then it started happening to Joe, and based on what settings each of us had affected the other one. It was the weirdest thing. We watched tutorials, we went through everything, and we finally figured it out. So hopefully we're coming through loud and clear.
Yeah. Good thing is we only went through 3 monitors, out of frustration.
Yeah.
To get it out. So
you can't see off screen where all the damage is.
A pile of damage, over here. And then let's see here. Yeah, so Angelo says he's working from Lakewood. All right. And then all right, thanks so much, Jab. Y'all sound great today. So thank you so much, Jab, for the validation. So
yeah,
man,
how about since we've been gone a couple weeks, I know that there are some new exciting things in your world, Joe. Do you want to tell everyone, and not that you can show and tell, but you can tell and explain, I guess.
So I ended up getting a single head here for primarily for development. and it was really, really cool to reach out to several manufacturers, and the one manufacturer that seemed to really fit the bill was the BAI machines. They, I opted for just their basic model, and they saw the videos and they came back and said, we want to upgrade you to the best model we have, which is really, really cool. The only downside is I needed a 35-inch wide doorway, and I had to take out a pretty good size amount of wall to get that thing to be where it's got to be. And then after I finally got all that where it needs to be, and I had to put in like a different door and all kinds of stuff like that, it's all done now. I'm like right at the end, 98% done getting my flatbed laser machine done. It's probably going to be completed this weekend, like completely done and operational, so I can actually show the absolute process from the beginning to the end of applique, how it's cut, why it's cut certain ways, etc. And I think that's going to really be a great asset, for everybody to elevate their decoration techniques. And even if you're not necessarily in production, you can at least understand how it's made, so you can take that. I mean, Jeremy would probably spend a little bit more time with if you're not in the production side of it, how would you take this information and use it to elevate the brandings that you're responsible for, if you're a broker like we are.
And it helps everyone know and justify the upper when it comes to applique, when it comes to some of the specialty embroidery techniques. So we're excited because up until this point, we've had to outsource. Even if we have an idea, it's a whole thing, that we have to do. With Joe having some of that where he can, flesh out some ideas on demand, and Joe doesn't necessarily take the easy path. He likes the inner workings, the wiring, the fuses. Right. He was showing me, everything laid out. I'm like, nope, I would, hire those IKEA specialists, to come over and put it together for you. But
right.
Obviously, knowing the ins and outs, Joe, it'll make it easier to fix it. But, so cool that you were able to, later. So we can't wait to mess around with it.
Right. And Eric actually brings up a really good point, which kind of coincides with what you just said. Can't wait to see what you get going in your development, what flatbed you end up rolling with. So what I basically did, Eric, is I ordered one off Ali. I don't know if it's AliExpress, probably AliExpress, but I was really surprised that it came, UPS International within just a few days, like maybe 4 days, it showed up. And I ended up going with the 25 watt optical system, diode based. So it's not a CO2 with mirrors, reflective mirrors. I went with something a little bit on the smaller side in that regard, because the actual module itself, they're extremely affordable, and they really are plug and play. So if I were to kind of spin through that diode, and that diode's seen too many hours and it's just not as powerful anymore, another diode laser module is less than $200 and you're up and running again. So X and Y, in fact, I got a good buddy of mine who's an electrical engineer for Medtronic here in Phoenix. He took a look at the motherboard. He goes, this is the same motherboard they use for 3D printers, and it's a very generic setup. So I went, like Jeremy says, I kind of went the long route, the more difficult route, because I didn't want to put myself in a position where if something were to go wrong, or maybe the step motors or something just isn't exactly how I would like it to be, I can modify it, make it better, things like that. So of course, Eric here's have had some discussions on that front between diode and CO2. Cool, yeah, I will let you know. I was trying to opt for something that was simple, but still repairable and easy to use. So I'm hoping that will be the case, and I'll be starting off with Lightroom as a software. Just it seems to be the most supportive, and I can change a lot of the perimeters software based, so I don't have to like flash EEPROM or do anything to update the motherboard itself, which I don't really want to do. So I'll let you know though, because it's so far been a very rewarding process. So,
Yeah, congrats, man.
yeah, thank you. So, well,
It's
I've
again,
done a
we
few-
like to show and tell.
Yeah,
show,
we have a
tell, and then show.
Yeah, exactly. We have a few sew outs that I've done, but it's mostly just been lettering verifications, just make sure that I got, push and pull on the fabric set correctly. But so far the machine has been showing me, I'll put it to you this way. I wish that our, the quality of the stitching we're getting back from our vendors was as good as what this machine is doing right now for me. 'Cause it just shows you such perfect stitching right now. Brand new.
Deceiving at times.
Yeah, it is. It is a little deceiving. So,
Yeah.
Jeremy,
So there's been a lot of embroidery and applique stuff that we've seen the last couple weeks, but I wanted to share something that Marshall Atkinson posted yesterday. He's been really digging into AI and Midjourney and creating graphics from Midjourney. And so he posted this one. If you don't know Marshall Atkinson, make sure you go follow him. He's a industry OG, and he solely focuses on education, helping mainly screen printing shops. But he showed this on Instagram, and I love the progression of where it's going and just the creativity of, I know a lot of it is in the prompts, but be able to create, a digital embroidered looking piece, obviously that would be hand embroidered over in India or Pakistan, but just, the realistic nature of it, I just thought it was super cool. Just to see where things are going to be going. We talked about realistic mock-ups being a selling point. Obviously, this is super ornate and a bit wild, but being able to work towards to where you can upload that image, that client, logo, and then have Midjourney or whatever other AI platform to be able to turn that into, something a little more realistic. I was watching something on Twitter yesterday that you can upload a picture to some AI site and it'll immediately turn it into like a realistic cartoon. And they used an example of, I forgot the girl in the new Star Wars, Rey, and they uploaded a picture of her, and then the image that it spit out was like, the cartoon rendition of it, and it was just from uploading one image. So I'm excited to see where that progress goes, because even if it's for development purposes, me not being a designer or a digitizer, I can take a design and take some inspiration, and then I can even create some more direction for the design team and the digitizing team to get out what I'm trying to get, out in my brain, since I can't necessarily do it physically. So it's really, I love the colors on this. If this was on like a smoking jacket, dude, I'd totally rock that.
Yeah, this is a really, really cool piece. So just to kind of reiterate, so this is an inspiration submitted to AI, or is that what I understand?
Yeah, it's all built from prompts. So Marshall, I'm guessing, was just he probably didn't upload any images. It was just, take a skull and crossbone, make it look like, ornate bullion embroidery, because a lot of the stitch work looks like, you would do bullion, either metal or just the cotton thread or the sewing thread. But yeah, I don't think Midjourney has done a great job of you upload images. I think it's all built around text prompts, which is even more unbelievable.
Yeah, Exactly. Obviously, I don't
The
know
way it's laid out.
about anybody else. I like nerding out on stuff like that, but I'd like to see what the text prompts look like, to get to this point. That's really cool.
Yeah, I was going to hit him up, but didn't have time. So I'll maybe ask him how he did it, or what his prompts were, if he is open to share that.
Yeah, that is really cool piece. I wish that those stitch lengths could be that long, on the skull, and without getting looped and torn, in real life. But that is a really really cool piece, and I would definitely support that. That is way cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably the hand embroidery. I'm gonna have to show that video sometime of that factory in Pakistan hand embroidering the bullion. We might need to do a dudes a thread piece and have them, do some samples of hand embroidered, pieces that it's mostly used on military, royalty, but Ralph Lauren uses it on a lot of his high-end jackets, and he's done it on hats. So we're gonna have to do test a project out on.
Right, it's very fascinating too, because thread and applique, especially like gold thread and higher end applique. I mean, they were found in pieces as old as the pharaohs, and they would go into the the tombs and find that the pharaohs only had gold thread woven into their either their tapestries or any of their linens and such, as well as it goes all the way to what Vikings were a very difficult culture to track, but they had a lot of ornate types of embroidery sewn into a lot of their garments. And back in the day, when you had even going into medieval Europe, that was a social class thing. If you were caught with royalty thread or ornate decorations, and you were a peasant or a commoner, you would be punished for having things that were I guess it's kind of like what was it, you're posing as a cop kind of thing. You're posing as royalty, you're not royalty, or of the aristocracy. So, and then I was also reading about how there was a great zipper debate, the invention of the zipper in the early 20th century threatened the applique industry, since zippers made garments easier to put on and take off. There was no need to decorate the closures with applique embellishments. And those applique and embroidery people were pretty upset about that. I'm not sure if that was going to put them out of business.
Well, luckily, the old money style is accessible to everyone now. So
yes,
no one would be chopping heads for getting some of that dope Burmalana.
Exactly. So, so Ramon has chimed in here with, she says she's getting a 40-watt setup for herself, which is great. And that she's also going with diode because it's a simpler system. It is, Ramona. It's a very simple system. So actually, Jeremy, if you remember when you started out, those were CO2 style. Those are the ones that have.
Okay.
Those are the cooling ones, and they have the tube that reflects off the mirrors, and they're loud and
stinks.
Yeah, everything. The extraction unit, is pretty gnarly. You still have to have an extraction unit. You still got to get it out, out of the house or out of your building. But that's the diode. The actual module, the laser module, is so much smaller now than it ever used to be. It just sits on the head now. So it is the head instead of having things reflect around, so that the head is just the focus unit, the laser. So I'll give a tour of my machine when it's all done. But I think I'm just waiting on the last piece of plexiglass for the lid, so you can see all the way into the machine. Get that mounted probably today or tomorrow, and then it'll be good to go. But,
awesome, man. Is that a new garment on your body form there, or is that Is that an old one? I can't tell.
I'm not sure. Let me see. I'm not sure if I showed this one already. If I have, I apologize if this is old news for some of you. But this is definitely right around that Y2K time frame. This is also more like a rayon felt for this piece right here. So this felt here is incredibly soft, like real
It
fluffy
looks
soft.
like clouds.
Yeah. Of course, the twill down below is just destroyed. But there's a 7-pass bean stitch down there on the bottom in that like old gold thread color with two layers of it's like a navy felt base, which is obviously gonna be kind of hard to see. And it has that like really nice sanded enzyme wash looking, twill sitting on top. But that rayon felt is just dynamite. It's just so soft and, like you said, kind of cloud fluffy. But that's what I got on my mannequin today.
And is the letters, do you think that's laser cut, or do you think that's made with a die and cut out?
That's a great question. I think it could be both. Just because with the laser, you can, as long as the fabric is organic, you can cut it to that degree. And of course, after the wash, any edges that might have singed or scarred would wash out super soft like that. But you bring up a good point. If that was die cut, it would make a lot of sense as well, because it would fluff up like that, just as easily, if not easier, than if it were to be laser cut. But rayon is another word for bamboo, basically, and it's incredibly soft fabric, which is what they inject into the cotton wrapped polyester woven yarn, so that we have tri-blends. It's the injection of the rayon that makes the tri-blends feel as soft as they are, which is really cool.
Love that.
Yeah, but so that's what I got on my mannequin.
I'm being able to wear. I'm addicted, man. It's a problem.
Right? Yeah. Did you get your mannequin set up for today? I wasn't sure if you had time.
So I have it set up, but the lighting's a little weird right now.
Okay.
I was trying to get my wireless Go connected, and
Yeah.
it's not connecting.
Oh, it's not going. Dang it. Well.
Nope. But we'll survive.
All right, Joe. Well, I think Ramona chimed in here just a bit ago saying that, Jeremy, it's good to hear you.
Thank you.
So she
Not
came
to
in
be
with-
conceited, it's good to hear myself.
Yeah, exactly. Ramona came in as a class act on that one. So, yeah.
Anybody have any cool projects they're working on right now that they can share or link to on social media we could pull up?
Absolutely. And then
I don't know how.
Ramona said she's got this 40-watt laser getting set up. I'm kind of curious, Ramona, how big cutting area you've got. The one I've got set up, I've only going to do about 20. I think it's like 27 by right around 20, something like that's my cutting area. Big enough to run, maybe 12 to 14 samples if I were to put a full bed in there. So, and I do have a honeycomb bed as well. Not just a flat metal surface, but I do have the honeycomb in there, so it hopefully will help with certain fabrics for scarring or singeing. But yeah, with any cool project anybody's working on, man, let us know. We would love to pull up and take a look at it. In fact, Jeremy, if you could take it for a second, I'm gonna probably just pull up what Ramona was working on, because it's a great example.
Okay.
Show.
Yeah, well, I will. We're developing our own line in-house right now, and so it's not going as fast as I'm hoping, but part of it is because we're always designing for others, and knowing that we're not able to not give 100%, but give all of our creative ideas, knowing that most likely it's going to fall flat with some of our customers. So, you know, keeping some of that beautiful inspiration that we find just, you know, normal market research, and actually taking those and then going to the design stage development. I wanted to share just one of my boards on Pinterest, and you know, if I'll have to link those here, I'll link that in the chat, but it's whether your current clients offer that or not, it's a good idea just to fill your brain with what is out there, what's possible, you know, what is not possible domestically, you know, what could you show to your customers that, hey, why don't we try this? If their font or if their design yields for it, being able to show them some of these market research pieces, I think is a good idea, just to visually give them ideas of what's possible. Most our customers, your customers, they probably have one main idea of embroidery. They might own pieces that are outside, but their brains aren't connecting that, oh, that's possible for my projects. And so going through, oh, this one right here reminds me of Eric, one of his pieces that it looks like it's hand knitted, or, you know, the crosshatch or whatever. That one remind me of one of the pieces Eric shows from time to time. But again, it's not only about the stitches, it's not only about getting all crazy, but it's how can you create more depth? How can you match the garment? Is it shiny poly, or is it, you know, vintage tri-blend? And I think the biggest thing is of what is lacking in our industry is that disconnection from the customer to the creative team. And a lot of, at least on the distributor side, the sales and account executives are dealing with the customers, not the creative department. And so a lot of the creative department is just doing things, they're doing what's requested of them, but they're not necessarily digging in to make that customer's project better. Whether they go for it or not, it's not the point. The point is to show what that customer could have if given the right project, or that all embroidery is not created equal. So this board I've been building for 12 years just showcases everything from, you know, prep collegiate to, you know, this one is more street wear, I would say. You know, it's all puff. There's some unique stitches. It's literally only using 2 threads. Obviously it looks like a cut and sew garment, but thinking outside of the box in the stitches, how can we, you know, match the garment differently, or how can we match other pieces of the merchandise, whether it's a graphic design or, you know, a staple of an employee uniform? How can we pull those elements into embroidery or into new pieces? This is one that I've been geeking out on a lot. It looks like cording, right? Cording and then just tacked down.
It does look like cording, but you know, usually the cordings, the stitching smashes right down into the center of the cord, and it's not smashing. I could see there's you know, might be some thread going down the center of that thing, but it's just not smashing it. But it just looks so cool. I love cording.
Yeah,
it's a really good technique.
And I think the ZSK machines might be able to do some of that, their attachments, but again, it's not, you could replicate something similar maybe with puff or, you know, just the right stitch. Really, my goal is, even for you manufacturers, is for those right customers to be able to pop those ideas out. Again, the more you fill your head with what's available, the easier it is that you're going to pull these ideas out when you're ideating with your customer, or when you're sitting there digitizing and you're tired of digitizing the same design year after year of, I'm going to go a little rogue and show them something more creative. Again, like this, it doesn't have to be super avant-garde or, you know, super fashion forward. This is literally, instead of, let me see, it literally just looks like no fill and just the outline, and it gives that look because the type of fabric that is, it's pushing in, so it almost looks like an applique. But just doing a client's text in that versus solid fill all the time could just be an easy way to elevate their merchandise. So
this is definitely
spend some time on this on weekend, follow along, because I'm adding to this, you know, 10 to 40 pins a week. There's just so many cool, unique things out there that touches every style you can think of. It's just a matter of knowing that it exists and then figuring out how to produce it.
Yeah, that's one of those graphics too, where I feel like folks will lean towards screen print long before they think about doing something like that with embroidery, and it just doesn't take a lot of stitches. To do something to really pull it off, make it look, you know, killer.
Speaking of bullion, oh my goodness, this is all hand done. If you haven't seen bullion embroidery, go watch it. They literally take the needle and wrap the metal thread around the needle, and then pull it to kind of tighten the knot, and then go to the next stitch. So everyone is, like for these long extended ones, they're wrapping the metal wire around the needle, you know, probably 40, 50 times just to get that length of the tightness of that knot. It's just unbelievable. Obviously, it's for a very, very small percentage of potential projects, but you know, we did one for an equestrian company. You know, they rent out or educate kids and adults, and they do the equestrian. And, you know, when you're thinking about this type of graphic, streetwear is a great option to pitch, but also anything prep is it's just a way to go above and beyond for a premium product, but it's also difficult. But anyways, I look at this all day, but go there and dig in and just enjoy, because these are fellow digitizers, fellow embroidery salespeople that are crushing this on the daily. And it just really hasn't entered our B2B space much. We're trying to change that. Yeah.
I've got this deal here to pull up here. So this is actually what Ramona was working on. So she had this really cool like artsy piece, and this is, you can see it kind of sitting here on top of her washing machine here. And I think one of the things I really like about this piece is, you know, for one of her first attempts at getting this done here with some Tex 40, I believe this is Saba thread, she said. This is looking really good. I mean, she was reporting she's got a little bit of, you know, pushing and pulling happening on this jersey fabric, but really proud of her for giving it a good effort here to get there's so much loft in some of these stitches, you know, over through here, these satin stitches. You can tell the fills have really pushed the jersey out a bit in that direction, you know, but it's not too bad at all, really, as far as this goes. Right,
love it.
You know, with all that loft that she's getting here without just naturally getting that particular loft.
Go Dolly.
Yeah, it's great though.
And you say that on a jersey? That's on jersey?
Yes, the jersey garment.
Wow.
So she did really, really well. So I would say if Ramona, a couple things that would probably help you out is I don't know if you're using just regular wash away for this. If you are just using regular wash away, you could try the wash away that has the PSA on it, which is it really holds the fabric about as rigid as it can, but still washes away. That could help. You may have some scenarios where it's too dense, meaning I don't think I see one area on this that shows that it's showing through. So it could be that there's some density you could potentially take out, and that could help tremendously with some of those areas, where you're getting some of the fabric, getting pushed around. There's the fabric denser here. I can see it. Then let's say out over here, but all's good. I mean, you really do need to wash the first one to find out where you're at. So very, very proud of her of Ramona for doing that. A better than average college try there. That's a good sample.
Yeah, and it's a good example of, you're an artist in a way. So like, a lot of Angelo could probably attest to this, when you're designing for clients all the time. I mean, I don't know, maybe this was a client, but it's you want to have your own idea and your own creative out there. So like, whether it's in the weekends or at night, being able to test out things that you like, that you track to, that you want to experiment with, because again, that's how you get sell samples to try it for someone else. But you have to experiment, there's no way around it. Or just to have a voice that is outside of, your customers' looks. Even though you are a manufacturer, you can still have that voice of being a leader and, sharing these creative ideas, because it really has to be shown a lot of times for people to accept it.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is so much in the development of these pieces too that I think doesn't really get near as much credit. Some of these digitizers and embroidery operators, can work on a hat for 3 or 4 samples before you get it right, because of just the way the fabrics were, pushing around on you and whatnot. So it's always great to give credit, to all those awesome folks working in the background that no one ever hears about, for their efforts to get it right. So
yeah, and Joe and I have been talking about some of those people in the background, and specifically reaching out to major clothing brands, mid to big box stores, of getting in touch with the embroidery department or the creatives or someone in that space that are producing these great embroidery pieces. A lot of times there's probably not a lot of people asking to interview them. And so we're going to work towards, getting, I've been trying to contact the Ralph Lauren embroidery specialist. There's Super Dry, there's Old Navy. I want to hear from those people that are creating what all of us are kind of following, just to get their perspective. For them, they're doing the volume, so manufacturing capabilities isn't necessarily their trouble, but getting a retail perspective, I think, would be really good, not only for you digitizers and you shop owners, but distributors, creatives, salespeople as well, because we're trying to do the same thing. We want to make that cool product that fits our customer's brand. We want to elevate it, but there might be a block that we could learn from them. So hopefully within the next 6 months, we're going to have a couple interviews to pick their brain and just to hear from what the big boys and girls are doing in retail.
Yep, absolutely. So one other thing too that I wanted to point out is I've been talking a lot about Burmalana and these big fat threads, and Jab is actually taking the time to get their machine timing adjusted a bit so they can start experimenting with Burmalana.
Nice.
So that's huge. That's a huge feat to get into. So good on you for giving that a whirl, because that is some some crazy stuff there. But I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Make sure your digitizing is good. If you do need a digitizing file for your digitizer to kind of go off of, then you can hit me up, and I'll be happy to send you a file that I've run several times. So going back to Ramona. So she was saying,
question
let's see, she was saying that she had, so she was using some Saba, you needed some fills because the sands are too wide. Good point there, Ramona. You can always take a really wide satin. You can go ahead and let it do its split, or you can just punch it twice, and then kind of try to get the integration, get the fingers to kind of respond to each other if you don't want to do the split. And I know the split doesn't always look, perfect. But PSA is also pressure sensitive adhesive is what it stands for. But that's what that is right now. So
I know a lot of shops use that for when they're doing applique, whether it's the poly twill or felt, something that doesn't have to fray. I've come to find out that PSA works for that, but I feel like it's always a little more rigid than just your normal fabric, right? It's thicker. It doesn't have as much. It's not as supple. With the garment when there's PSA on it.
Yeah, you're talking about the poly twills with the PSAs. Yeah, it is definitely stiffer. That's for sure. And that's actually what's kind of really cool about. They do make what I'm talking about here. They do make a wash away backing that has PSA on it, so it actually does not only adhere to the fabric, but it's also stiffer, like we're saying. So it does provide a lot better of a backing especially for what Ramona's doing. And then you get this really nice sew out, but it's all going to wash away at the end. So that's been a nice little tool to have. It is a little pricier than regular wash away, but it's worth it when you get it all done. One thing I've noticed too about that PSA is once you get it like hooped, it's on there, and you leave it overnight, you're not gonna get that off of there. You gotta actually have to wash it to get it off. It's not coming off. But we got looks like Justin's tuning in as well. And he's still trying to experiment with larger text thread. Cool. So he's got
time. What's time? Come on! Don't you have so much, Justin? So much time in our lives.
Oh, also, I know it's rough. Yeah. Well, I think the majority of the threads I have on my machine right now are all, sewing threads for the most part. Like 2 or 3 embroidery threads, but almost everything's sewing right now. Just stuff we've been doing. But fun. I'm
becoming a sewing thread snob. Which
right.
I know it's gonna bite me in the impression one of these days, but I love it so much. It just fits all of our vintage aesthetic, man. It's gonna be hard to divert from that.
Yeah, exactly. And then we have so Jab's letting us know too that they've got an applique project with some poly twill. So we take pictures, man. Share it. We would love to see how that's going to go, and even if it doesn't go wrong or it doesn't go right, it goes wrong or whatever. We just want to see so we can educate people on this is what you got to do to make it happen. And then poly twills. Eric's letting us know here the poly twills with heat sensitive adhesives can create snow where adhesives drag to the top, but it isn't usually a permanent problem. This is true. PSA poly twills, I noticed don't do it as badly, but there are some adhesives that can create some strange snow, I guess would be it, right? Dandruff. The needle will actually start to penetrate the applique fabric, and that penetration creates these tiny little artifacts that end up I know exactly what Eric's talking about. You got to take the air hose and blow off the snow. Great point. The dandruff. But so awesome. Well, thanks everybody for joining us today. I really want to see more of your projects, we do have a Dudes of Thread website set up. If you head over to the dudesofthread.com and submit any images there that you have. We have a little form that you can fill out, a little contact form. If you fill that out, we would love to feature you and see what we can do to make that happen. If you want your stuff shown. Ramona, I didn't even ask you. I hope it's okay that I showed you stuff. I'm sorry.
Busted.
Dang it.
Oh, and we have to Jab and Jay Kev submitted some level up. We got to do that.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be fun.
maybe next week. We can do that. We were thinking about bringing on Angelo, our art director, and talk about design tips, for specialty embroidery and applique, and how to go from that, logo vector to building up to the digitized version of that. So he can give some tips and tricks. He used to work at a resort wear company, and they did all collegiate, and they had applique in-house. So he'll be able to bring some design and creative knowledge on that topic as well.
Yeah, we're definitely going to put him on the spot.
Oh yeah, sorry, Angelo. Surprise.
Excellent. Well, we are so glad that you all joined us today, and we're gonna probably get Angelo on this next show for sure. He's gonna love it. He's gonna be scared, but he's gonna love it.
Yep, you got a week to prep, man. Go.
Wonderful. Well, we really appreciate everybody's time, and we're gonna call it for now. But thanks so much for joining us. We are the Dudes of Thread, and Jeremy, you want to close us out here?
Snitches get stitches. Oh wait, we're helping you one stitch at a time.
Exactly. Wonderful. Well, thanks so much, everybody. Have a great weekend. Take care of yourselves. Come back to us safe. We would love to see you again here shortly. So thanks so much for everything, and fashion to the people.
Fashion to the people. Bye.